All right, let's talk Las Vegas Raiders. Obviously, new era in Vegas. We're seeing obviously another head coach, new regime coming in. But so far, there's been a clear strategy, and we've talked about it a few episodes now with the Raiders of what they're doing. And they've made another move, kind of an under the radar kind of deal here. But once again, it's part of the strategy of what the Raiders are trying to do to return to the top of their division. I think it makes a lot of sense. We'll break that down in just a second. But first, I'm Nick, and this is Saturday Morning Inspection. All right, talking Raiders, without further ado, let's jump right into this report. This is courtesy of Athlon Sports. According to NFL Network's Tom Pelissero, the Raiders have hired Denver Broncos executive Mark Thewes as President of Football Operations and Strategy. Thewes previously spent 16 seasons with the Broncos, a long time, and was most recently their Vice President of Football Operations and Compliance. He was a key part of the franchise for a long time, so it's a bit of a blow to Denver, obviously rival to the Raiders, so that helps. The Broncos are one of the teams the Raiders have to face twice this season in the AFC West, so Thewes should be able to provide some valuable insight into their operation. For the Raiders, they now get an experienced executive who has ties to SpyTech. Thewes and SpyTech had overlapped in Denver, as the latter was a scout for the franchise from 2013 to 2015. There's a lot of reasons to like this move. And, we've seen the Raiders. Obviously, Pete Carroll's name was a headline grabber. We're talking about the strategy with, of course, Chip Kelly, Graham back into the fold as a DC. But I think the front office decision making is what really has separated the Raiders apart from how they normally handle the offseason. We'll cover that exactly why. In fact, Miles, I know you've got some great insights on this. But first, Raider Nation, in the comment section below, how would you grade the front office hiring so far this offseason? Stay away from the coaches booth for a second. Let's focus on who they brought in to lead the front office. Grade the overall hirings altogether. A, you love it. C, it's okay. F, you hate it. In the comment section below. But Mize, what do you think of the latest news and just everything going on with the Raiders?
Yeah, Nick, I think this just screams the Raiders. They've got a plan. They've got some, cohesiveness going on. They have a system. They're trying to build, cohesion on the field, trying to get a coaching staff out there where everything links together. But also, they're trying to do it in the front office as well. And you don't really see that. Like, you don't think about that too much because very rarely do you see, a front office rebuild and coaching rebuild at the same time and see all of this happen all at once. But you start to see it and you piece together the dots, and it seems like the Raiders, they really have a strategy for their front office as well. They want not just, the best and brightest guys, they definitely want those guys, but they also want guys that work well together, that are familiar with each other. Spy Tech coming in, really great option for them as well. Then on top of that, Thewes coming in, a guy that's familiar with Spy Tech as well as Kelly also overlapped with them as well when they were in the front office during that time. So I think this is really interesting here for all of these guys. I think that it's just showing that Tom Brady, Al Davis, they have a vision for this front office. They want a team in the front office. They want guys that have worked together before. I think this is very underrated, like you said at the very beginning. People don't think about this as being something that's important. It is. And now we're finally getting to see all of these things culminate and come together. I'm starting to get pretty excited about what's going on in the Raiders front office. I think we're going to see something good. And all of this culminates on the field later on. So I like it. I really like what is going on with the Las Vegas Raiders so far.
Yeah, I love you calling the spirit, the ghost of Al Davis there, right? Bringing him
Oh,
into the fold. Obviously, you meant
yeah.
Mark Davis before anyone gets crazy down in the comment section, as I know you guys like to do. Of course, that's why we love Raider Nation. Very active, very engaging fan base. But when it comes to what the Raiders are doing here, I could not agree more. And what we're seeing is experience, right? We're seeing guys who have done this before. We're not seeing, new guys into the fold. Hey, let's see how you do, right? We're not seeing guys that are, who are exciting new sexy names. Let's throw you out there and see how it works. Nothing against Antonio Pierce, but he kind of fell into that category. And the reality is right now, Mark Davis and the Raiders, and of course, Tom Brady has a big role in this. They're trying to bring in basically top flight leadership and experience, guys that have been building teams for a long time, that have great working relationships in their team with these guys and throughout the entire National Football League. SpyTech's been involved for decades. Of course, Thewes has been involved for decades. Chip Kelly's a veteran coach, college and pro. Graham's a veteran coach, right? Obviously, Raiders fans, you know him very well. And of course, Pete Carroll is the oldest coach, I think, of all time. By the time the regular season is going to come around, the oldest head coach, I should say. This is the fourth NFL team he's led: Jets, Patriots, Seahawks. Now, of course, the Raiders, and of course, the USC Trojans mixed in between the Patriots and the Seahawks reign there for Pete Carroll. So this is experience out the wazoo. Oh, and by the way, you've got the greatest quarterback of all time, the guy who played more games than anybody else, playing a pivotal role in your leadership from the owner's suite as a minority owner, right? No matter where you look at, this Raiders team is going to be experienced in the leadership. And I think that's what Mark Davis and Brady were really going for. I think one of the things that Tom Brady realizes when he looks back on his time with the Patriots, their second half of that dynasty, was that it was such an experienced group, right? It was obviously Belichick and Brady, but they had their front office guys that everyone knew, the Ernie Adams of the world, the Casarios of the world, the guys who really made that roster click and had the Patriot way ingrained in their DNA. And right now, what Brady's trying to do is, okay, let's bring in guys who know what they're doing. Let's bring in experienced guys. There's a time to bring in young hotshot executives, a young hotshot play callers to see if they can work some magic. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it ends in colossal failure. Now's the time to get the Raiders back to stability and consistency. And now everything going on with the Raiders is focusing solely on that. Let's be good. We don't have to try and be the best offensive coordinator hire of all time, the best defensive coordinator of all time. We don't have to make the gutsiest coaching move of all time or the craziest trades. Let's just be solid, consistent, well-run franchise. And if we do that for 2, 3, 4 years, get back to consistently winning games and getting back to the playoffs and being competitive, then we can be aggressive. This is a rebalancing going on in Las Vegas, trying to revert to some stability. Brady's doing a great job in his role. Honestly, I think the entire leadership with Carroll and Spivak at the top of coach and GM respectively, they're doing phenomenal as well. And hires like Thewes are just another example of the Raiders' smart strategy.